Breaking news now, the Russian parliament's upper house has voted to outlaw gender transitions. On Wednesday, the Federation Council of the Russian Federation unanimously approved a bill banning gender-affirming procedures, sending the measure to President Vladimir Putin for his signature. The Kremlin is continuing its push to safeguard what it considers to be the country's traditional values with this decision. The bill, which has already passed the lower house, prohibits medical interventions aimed at changing the sex of a person, as well as changing one's gender on official documents and public records. The only possible exception is surgical correction of congenital defects. Transgender people are prohibited from becoming foster or adoptive parents, and marriages in which one partner has changed gender are nullified. The law's proponents say it will shield the country from the Western anti-family ideology, and some lawmakers have even called the practice of gender transitioning pure Satanism. 10 years ago, when Putin first declared an emphasis on traditional family values, supported by the Russian Orthodox Church, Russia began its crackdown on LGBTQ+ people. Legislation prohibiting official support for non-traditional sexual relations among minors was passed by the Kremlin in 2013. Putin successfully amended the constitution in 2020 to make same-sex marriage illegal. Hundreds of thousands of people have been killed, entire neighborhoods have been wiped out, and entire cities have been reduced to rubble because of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Russia thought the invasion would only last a few days, but with help from the West, Ukraine was able to put up a strong defense of its territory and win back a sizable chunk of territory that had been under Russian control. The Allies of World War II believed that eliminating Hitler was their only option for ending the war. However, NATO and Western allies are averse to the conflict spreading onto Russian soil for fear of a dramatic escalation, potentially leading to a nuclear confrontation. Most Western analysts agree that it would be extremely difficult for Ukraine to liberate Crimea and the eastern side of the Donbass, despite Volodymyr Zelensky's public goal of removing all Russian soldiers from Ukrainian lands. Since it is also unlikely that Russia will win and subjugate all of Ukraine, it is also unlikely that either side will be able to deal a fatal blow to the other. Therefore, victories and losses on the battlefield don't mean much in this war. Advertisement. To determine whether or not Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine was successful from a grand strategic standpoint, it is necessary to examine the goals he hoped to achieve. Mr. Putin has made it abundantly clear that he wishes to stop the expansion of NATO, but his invasion has directly led to Finland and Sweden opting to join. Even though Mr. Putin's stated goal was to make Russia great again, anyone who has observed the shift in power dynamics between him and Chinese President Xi Jinping will see that Mr. Putin is now treated as a subordinate. Even though Mr. Putin intended for the Russian economy to expand, the opposite has happened as a result of Western sanctions. Since his goals for the war will not be achieved and Russia will end up as a pariah state, most Western leaders consider Russia to have already been defeated. But Mr. Putin will know that he needs a victory of some kind to appease his domestic audience and make the sacrifices worthwhile. That's why Putin has always called it a special military operation, leaving plenty of room for interpretation, so that he can negotiate a peace and declare victory whenever he sees fit, even though the world will know it was a Pyrrhic victory.